What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Watch and Cut channel. So we previously, a while back, I'm kind of overdue for doing this video, but previously a while back I did an unboxing of a Glock 19 Gen 3 that I had purchased, which is this one right here. This one has an OD green frame, you know, that's just for aesthetics, but I do like that a lot. So that's the version that I did end up buying. And since then, I was doing a build and doing a lot of other little add-ons. One thing that I never finished up on the video, because I was missing a little plate, was the Trijicon RMR, the red dot that I was going to go ahead and add on. So we went ahead and did that. It was pretty easy. You just remove the plate that's underneath. There's these two screws right here. You get the appropriate screws, which I got from Strike Industries, because this is a Strike Industries slide. And the kit comes with screws for all kinds of red dots. So I got the appropriate ones that fit. Used a little bit of Loctite, very little bit, because I want to be able to back them out. Put a brand new battery, zeroed it at 25 yards-ish. And then we put the suppressor height sights on the rear. And these are kind of like combat sights. In other words, you know, like when you line these sights up, it's going to be like whatever's behind it's what you're going to hit. So very cool. But traditionally for the last 10 years, I've been shooting with red dots. And that's just kind of like, I don't know, that's my gold standard now. My eyes are getting older, a little bit less sharp than they used to be, and I've heard a lot of older veterans as well say the same thing, just red dots make it that much easier. But it's not like Call of Duty where like you know, you just pick up a gun and like, you know, the red dot's right there. As you can see, if you don't present it in the correct way, you don't even see a dot. You have to be lined up to where the dot is going to hit something. And that usually only presents like within, like, you can see how narrow of a window that is. So it's always good to have backup sights. As you can see, these are not really like for precision. They're more for like quick target acquisition. And I do like that. You can get the sights where you're going to run like 2 dots in the rear to line up with a dot in the middle. There's all different kind of sights. These are the Pro iDot from Ameriglo, I believe. And they have the little, you know, green fiber optic deal right there, which is nice. It presents really bright too. I did get the Trijicon RMR where like you can't turn it off. It's definitely a newer version, but I don't know. I really like, I don't know, I never really want to have to guess that the thing's going to be on or off. So I always buy them, you know, with no on and off switch. And the batteries can last like a few years, no problem. I only usually like hold them out to about like a year and a half is where I hold them out to. I'm sure they could do much more than that. And they're constantly on, so you grab the gun, it's always ready for you, which is cool. And if something were to happen where the battery goes bad or the sight, damn, can't speak today, then you have these backup iron sights that you can use in case of an emergency. So that was kind of the setup I want to do as far as my target acquisition. I do like going with aftermarket slides for only one reason, really, is just the extra texturing that you can grab onto to, you know, rack the slide. So that's one of those things. Now, since we're going to probably move on to kind of the trigger and the bottom next, let's, you know, unload it. I already kind of like safety check these before doing the video anyways, but you know, just in case somebody's like, oh, he didn't safety check it. Yeah, not during, but I did before. I have that much common sense. But yeah, so that's kind of like the upper area. Actually, you know, let me go ahead and point this safe direction. Let's take a look too, because There is one other upgrade that I think is kind of noteworthy to look at on this gun, and that is the barrel. Now, the stock barrel, guys, is fine. As a matter of fact, the entire Glock 19 in a stock configuration shoots amazing. They're great. I mean, in my personal opinion anyways. But since I was going to pimp it out, it's my personal gun, you know? Why not put some, like, quirky, neat things? And you can see this twist barrel that Strike Industries made for the Glock 19. So this is the barrel I'm running. I would imagine it adds a little bit of cooling because of the surface area from the twist. I don't know if the twist actually applies to the rifling inside. I doubt it. I'm actually curious. Let's look at, see if we can see the rifling in there. I think you can kind of see it in there. It's nice. The gun shoots very accurate with this barrel. Everything's nice and crisp when I take this gun out. I did spend some time shooting it like unmodified just because it was fun that way as well. And then really on the inside, I didn't really do much. I did pretty much just use all factory internals on this thing because I want to keep this gun reliable. This was actually supposed to be, if I ever decide to get my concealed carry license in California. A lot of people are doing it now. It's a lot easier to do here than it used to be. So it's something I considered. So that's why, hence, I got a Glock 19. Because it was just a little bit more compact than what I currently owned. And speaking of what I owned prior to this guy, was this guy, the Glock 17. You can see it's there's a size difference, most definitely. But I did add like a Magwell, which considerably adds some length. But even with that being said, you can see that the Glock 17 is still longer. They're pretty close. I mean, just a little tiny bit on the Glock 17. And you can see I have a longer barrel on there as well. This was always supposed to be a target practice kind of pistol. Same thing, it's got the Trijicon RMR. It's got a ZEV technology trigger. It's got a ZEV SOCOM slide. See, this one is also unloaded, which I also safety checked prior. It does have a threaded barrel. I know, you know, like I don't usually like, you don't usually have those in California because they're not really like friendly out here for those things. So, you know, when you go to the range, shoot your factory barrel is all I'm saying. But this one does have a ZEV technology barrel on it. You can see the dimpling, which is, I'm sure, for added cooling. What I got this actually for is because I ended up buying a ZevTech compensator, and I tried running the comp on it. And to be quite honest, it kind of like started messing with like the reliability of the gun. So I took it off for now. I am going to revisit that, maybe send this whole gun over to ZevTech because I think I want to have them do the frame as well. Kind of like bigger undercut and then like another half cut right here. And maybe do some stippling, you know, like just do like a nice cool frame, I think. That's pretty much all that's left. Everything else is modified on this gun. It's even got the titanium pins, it's got the extended mag release and the extended slide lock. Yeah, this is a really, really cool pistol. And in the bottom, I even have a Glock breakdown tool, which is really cool. It just kind of like fits flush with the mag, which I thought was kind of neat. So I always carry this gun this way. This one's going to get a Timney trigger. I already have the trigger. I just haven't installed the kit yet. So I'll probably do that on a different video. But back to the subject of the matter, the Glock 19. So originally, like I said, I was going to build something that I was going to do that has the capability of being more of a concealed carry pistol. So with this one, I did go with an extended mag release as well. It's a little bit large if you were going to do like a holster, but it does work on some holsters from what I read. But for me, just the way that I grip the gun, I mean, I have like some access to the mag release, but it's kind of limited. So for me, this was perfect. It gives me a little bit extra purchase where I can know I can be guaranteed that, you know, it's going to release every time I hit the release. Because with the factory one, which I try to run for a little bit, yeah, there was a few times I just couldn't press it down at the right angle, or I had to adjust my grip to get more leverage. It was just not pleasant. And then this, I just kept mild, you know. I don't want this to catch on anything. Now, this one does have a light on it. It's the GL3 Defense Series. I think this was from Rovivon, if I remember right. It's a Chinese-made light. Honestly, I'm probably going to swap it out and put a Surefire or something a little bit smaller even on it. But even that being said, this light is super bright and it works really well. So it's just something I've kept on the gun for now, temporarily, for like kind of a home defense setup, I guess you could say. As far as the trigger, we got a Strike Industries trigger. Very nice. You could see it's a little bit flatter than the traditional curved Glock trigger. And I'll bring the 17 over because that one's got a curved trigger a lot more like the Glock, which you can see right here. So when you grab this trigger, it does kind of like sit on your finger a certain way. And then when you travel all the way to the wall of the trigger and you depress it a little further to the break, you just got kind of like a constant, I don't know, you got like a constant like contact patch, I guess you could say. This one kind of lets you vary it a little bit more just because it's a little bit flatter, but it does have a bit of a curve, so it kind of feels similar. But this is a Strike Industries one. This is a Zev Technology one. I like them both. This one, here, I'll show you right now. Let's see actually like what the trigger pull is on this guy. When this gun was stock, it was about 5.5 pounds. And then you can see, here's what we got. It's actually about almost 4.5 pound trigger pull now. So it does require like a little bit of pull to go and pass the brake, which I like because you always want to make sure that when you pull the trigger in like a self-defense scenario, that you do intend to break the trigger when you do. And that's why you're supposed to practice very good like trigger discipline and not like kind of like grab the gun like this because for obvious reasons. You know, when you grab a pistol, you always have your finger extended out. And then when you're ready to like go ahead and shoot, you know, you're going to pull this all the way to the wall where you're going to feel where the break is. And then you got the break. So this one shoots really smooth, but it does have a nice dedicated trigger pull. This one's closer to about 3.5 pounds. So it's about a pound lighter. And I can definitely tell the difference. And when I do go with the Timney trigger in this thing, I heard those go about closer to like 2.5 pounds. So that's more like a race gun configuration thing, right? Not something I'm going to want to carry like on every day. This is going to be more like what I think is more reasonable of a slight trigger improvement from the factory stuff. Now with all my pistols, I like to have 5 magazines. That's typically what I have, is 5 magazines with each of my pistols. You can have as many as you want. Some people just have 3. I don't know. I think 5 is like the magic number, but that's just me. That's, you know, in California, that's 50 rounds. That's a box of ammo, right? So yeah, you know. Anyways, another thing, talking about ammunition, I did bring some stuff out. If you guys do decide to go out and buy a 9mm like I did, or several, this is kind of like the stuff I think is good bang for the buck, for, you know, target practice. I also like blazer brass is great. So blazer brass and Fiocchi is kind of my go-tos. They're usually pretty decently priced at Turner's Outdoors. So that's where I usually get that. However, if you do own a gun and you do want to do home defense kind of capability with it, you got to keep in mind that full metal jacket bullets go right through walls, right? So what do you do to kind of try to mitigate that in case of a scenario where you have to defend yourself? You're going to have to get yourself some actual defense ammunition. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to actually pull one of these out. I'll kind of show you the difference between the two. And you guys can kind of see. So this is kind of like a full metal jacket. This one's a brass case. I do not shoot steel case. I'm sorry. That's just, I know they're cheap, but it dirties the gun. Like, I always shoot brass. That's just a rule with me. You don't have to do that. The guns will run like all the other stuff too, especially Glocks. They'll eat anything. But, yeah, you know. So, just one word of advice. I've seen my buddies shoot steel ammo and go through a lot more extreme cleaning after they're done. Now, these are definitely more expensive, but what you're looking at here is something that's more like a hollow point. So these are designed that when they hit or strike their target, and the slug projects out, when it makes impact, it mushrooms out, which does two things. It creates a larger cavity into whatever you're shooting, and it also actually kind of, since the energy goes outwards, it doesn't actually have as much penetrating energy at that point. So the slug slows down. So goodbye, bad guy, you know, and probably not going to go through a wall as easily as something like this. So just keep in mind, if you do buy a gun for home defense, make sure you do your research and get proper ammunition for the right job. Very, very important. It does make a huge difference, and so you should do your research and always try to be, you know, as safe as you can be. So yeah, that's kind of like the whole ammunition with the 9mm that I run with my Glocks. Another thing that I like to have is this guy right here. It's a speed loader. I think this is a Loplula is how this is pronounced. You can see it kind of has a little lock here that I can release. And what you do is you squeeze this down, you pull this down, and you can slide a bullet in there. So it's a quick loader. Here, I'll show you with one bullet here. So, you know, traditionally, you push it in and you load it, right? With this guy, you just put this on the ground like this. You put this little rod down right here, which will compress down here. You just slide this in, go over the top, push this down, next bullet goes in, and so on and so forth. So that's how that works, which is really actually quite clever. So if you go shooting for hours, I highly recommend you get one of these. That's another thing on the checklist. Another thing that I always bring with me is some gun oil. I do use this stuff. I've been using this at least for, at least for 10 years, man. Not even kidding, like long time. This brand of stuff works great. Honestly, any sort of CLP will work just fine. But do bring that with you, because if you get any malfunctions and such, sometimes you're gonna have to break your gun down, wipe it down, and that'll help you greatly in whatever's going on. So I bring a microfiber cloth. You just break the gun down into 3 pieces, take the barrel out, wipe everything down. It's a good way to like kind of do a minor service on your gun. Every so often, you're gonna have to do a more detailed cleaning, which I do probably like every 1,500 rounds, where I take the trigger assembly completely out. I'll take the barrel out with the springs. I'll take this back plate off right here, and I'll take all the parts out of it. So it's pretty much a complete strip down of this gun. and then I'll clean everything out with Q-tips and everything. It is time consuming, but it keeps your gun running good. The worst thing you can do is let carbon build up over carbon build up, and then build up over carbon build up again. Just like in cars, guns, any of that stuff, it's all the same thing. Machinery needs to keep clean to keep running well. So keep that in mind. So yeah, so fantastic build in my opinion. One last thing that I did also change, I did put the Strike Industries pin here. This is still the factory one. I didn't put in it. I think I take that back. This is a factory Glock extended one. And then also I did put a Magwell. Magwells are interesting. This is the first time I've ever ran a Magwell in years. I just put this on last year. And on this gun, I think it works actually quite well, because the Glock 19 in my hands just seem to be like, you know, my hands just go a little bit past, right? So it kind of fills that gap in and kind of pushes my grip upwards. So it actually works really, really well. So like when I clamp down and I grip to shoot, I feel really good. Like I feel like the hand is really, really, really stable. So yeah, that was something that I thought was interesting. I think if I were to ever put this in a holster though, I would definitely probably have to remove that. Amongst other things. So, but yeah, that's the complete project with the Glock 19, the way that I decided to build mine. And I think it's a fantastic option for those people who are looking for something relatively inexpensive in the gun world, but something you know that's going to be always good old reliable. People ask me all the time why I like Glocks so much. And I said, well, it's not the fit and finish, right? It's not the fact that it shoots like better than anything else. It's really only the simple fact that I know when I pick a Glock up and I pull the trigger and it's loaded, it's going to go bang. I mean, that's just what they do. They're known for that. There's a reason why, you know, military and law enforcement and whoever else in the planet that might be on the wrong side of the law really trust these. I mean, this is a pistol you'll find everywhere. They're not quite as modular as a SIG, but I've never been a SIG guy. Ironically enough, I did buy a SIG. I bought a SIG P365X Macro Comp. Man, that's a long-ass name. So I got that gun on order. They just got released to the California roster. And I've always heard good things about SIG, but I'm generally a Glock guy, so it's going to be a new experience for me. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. But I can tell you for sure that I will always have a Glock in my personal collection. It's just a gun I trust. And trusting a pistol to fire whenever needed is probably the number one attribute that I think of. Ergonomics, you know, caliber, all that other stuff kind of comes secondary to it, you know. But for me, reliability is up front the most important. And that's why, for me, if I had to trust my life on it, I'll trust it to a Glock anytime. So that kind of does it. I think I rambled on enough, but I hope you guys kind of like learned about like my little setup here, so that if you ever consider getting a pistol, there's some things you might want to consider either getting on your pistol as far as accessories, or perhaps, you know, don't forget about the cleaning supplies, the bore gel, the bore punch for the barrel. Like, you got to keep this thing clean. So always think about all that stuff when you're shopping for yourself to get a new pistol. I think that'll about do it talking about this Glock 19 today. A lot of cool features and accessories that I added on, but I made sure that, you know, the guts and heart and soul of it is still Glock, so that it's still nice and reliable. And reliability, again, is why I buy a Glock in the first place. Sure, there's other guns that shoot straighter. Sure, there's guns that are smaller in the pocket. Sure, there's guns that are a whole bunch of other things. But when it comes down to a Glock is inexpensive, reliable, and very, very well known for its reputation. And that always sits well with me. So hope you guys enjoyed this video on my little Glock project part 2. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Leave comments down below if you have thoughts about or experiences with the Glock 19 and how you like to set up your system and what you like to run through your guns. And that'll about do it. This is Alex from the Watch and Cut channel, out for the evening.